Title: AITA, for asking my cousin not to bring his autistic son to my home anymore because of a romantic attachment to my wife. Verdict: no assholes here. I know from the title it sounds like I would be the asshole, but hear me out. I have an older cousin whose son is in his early 20s. I've always called him my nephew because he's the next generation down, and we've all been close, but technically, he's my cousin's son. He's autistic and has a part-time job, but he's significantly delayed in a lot of developmental areas and, according to his parents, will never be fully independent. Recently, my cousin and his wife have been thinking about relocating to our state because of some job opportunities. We've hosted them a few times when they've come to visit. The first time they stayed with us before my own son was born, my nephew developed a really strong attachment to my wife, Eloise. He always wanted to be near her, followed her around, and clearly adored her. Before they left that first visit, he drew a picture of a heart and picked some flowers from our yard to give to her. He told her he loved her. Eloise thought it was sweet and handled it gently. She told him she would always love him as his aunt, but that she was sure he'd find another girl to fill his heart soon. He immediately told her no, that she was his girlfriend. We both kind of brushed it off as a harmless crush at the time. He functions more like a much younger kid in a lot of ways, so we treated it like a child's first crush and figured it would fade. Fast forward to this recent weekend. They were staying with us again, but now we have an infant son. My nephew immediately went back to wanting to be near Eloise every chance he got. He would sit right next to her, follow her from room to room, and constantly try to get her attention. His parents noticed and tried to redirect him. They told him that because Eloise now had to take care of our baby, she couldn't spend as much time with him as before. That set him off. He got upset and started insisting, very loudly, that she was his girlfriend. Then he had a full meltdown. Our son started crying from the noise and tension. Eloise picked up the baby and went to another room to calm him down. As soon as she left, my nephew tried to follow her. His dad had to physically restrain him from going after her. I stood up and blocked the hallway to the room where Eloise had gone, just in case he managed to get away from his dad. I wasn't aggressive, but I was absolutely not going to let him get to my wife and baby while he was in that state. Eventually, they managed to calm him down. My cousin and his wife apologized and said they would keep a closer eye on him and make sure he didn't cross any boundaries. They were clearly embarrassed and stressed. This is where I might be the asshole. Once things had settled a bit, I told them I didn't feel comfortable with how possessive my nephew was being toward my wife and how jealous he seemed of our son. I said that I understood he was autistic and that meltdowns happen, but I also had to think about my wife's and child's safety and comfort in our own home. I told them that until he could understand that Eloise is not his girlfriend and learn to control himself better in that specific situation, I couldn't have him in our house. I apologized and said I thought it would be best if they got a hotel for the rest of their stay. I also told them that if they came back to look for jobs in our state, I'd be happy to see them, but only if they left my nephew at home with people they trusted to care for him. They didn't argue. They just looked really sad and went to the guest room to pack their bags. The whole thing felt awful. I felt like I was rejecting him, but I also felt like I had to draw a line. Later, I found out they'd told some of our extended family what happened. My grandmother called me and told me I should have been more understanding, that my nephew can't help the way he is, and that I was wrong to ask them to leave and to ban him from my home. For context, I wasn't jealous of my nephew calling my wife his girlfriend. The first time it happened, I honestly thought it was kind of cute and surprising that he had romantic notions at all. In my mind, he's always been like a big kid because of his developmental delays and childlike behavior. This time, though, I was genuinely worried. He was bigger, stronger, and clearly distressed, and I had no idea how far he might go if he got to Eloise and our baby while in meltdown mode. I don't blame him for being autistic. I don't think he's a bad person. I'm not angry at my cousin or his wife. I just don't know how to balance compassion for him with my responsibility to protect my own family and make sure my wife feels safe in her own home. I haven't spoken to my cousin since they left. I want to give everyone time to cool down before we talk. I do still care about them and about my nephew, and I'd like to have some kind of relationship if we can figure out safe boundaries. But right now, I'm standing by what I said about him not coming over until something changes. Am I the asshole for asking my cousin not to bring his autistic son to my home anymore because of his romantic attachment to my wife?